This 2005 Mercedes SLK 200 here belongs to my mother. It's a very nice car in many respects, but it is as grubby as hell. It's in dire need of a polish. So I'm going to set about doing my best to detail it. There are detailing enthusiasts around the country that will balk at my methodologies or will laugh at them or whatever, but there are also these same detailers who will spend 8 hours trying to sort out a car like this and beyond, to be honest with you. And I don't intend to spend that kind of time on it unless I feel like I'm really making progress, and that's what it actually needs. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with the basics, and we're going to start by pressure washing it. Commer Pesser, apparently. Oh, it's bad. It's pretty bad. So yeah, basically the pressure washer is going to help me to get rid of some of the mould and mildew and stuff around the badges and things like that, and into some of the crevices on the car, so we can get rid of some of that heavy dirt before we spray it down with some proper car shampoo. Now, don't get too worried here. I'm not going to be going using washing up liquid or something like that. I do have some decent products, and I am going to use a clay bar on it as well, so there's a bit to be done here, but there are things that you can do at home for very little money just to buy the few bits. I tend to use Autoglym a lot, but I do have some other brands as well, and I'll show you what I use along the way. For this job, I'm going to be using Demon Foam Snow Foam Car Shampoo. There are 3 capfuls in this pressure sprayer with warm water, and there's 3 capfuls in a bucket there as well with a sponge. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray down the car with the pressure sprayer and leave that to soak in for maybe about 10 minutes. And that's the important thing here, is don't do this on a really warm day, because stuff will just dry off way too quick. So yeah, I mean, it's about 10 degrees there now today, so good weather actually for doing this job. So I'm going to spray it down, leave it be, then I'm going to go over it again with the bucket and sponge, and then we're going to pressure wash it and see how we're looking then. Okay, so while we're waiting for the Demon Shine Snow Foam to do its thing on the first pass, let's attack the wheels. I'm going to use Autoglym clean wheels for this job. I would subscribe to the theory that wearing gloves while doing this would be a good idea, but actually I'm after running out of gloves, but I'm going to wash my hands afterwards. So we're just going to use very light pressure on the coarse side of a sponge here to just give them an extra little bit of a rub, and then we'll give them a pressure wash. You'll see how well these will come up now. Okay, so the wheels are looking pretty good now, so that's that's going to lift up the whole standard of the car. The wheels really do make a car, I think. But let's have at the bodywork now. We're going to give it a belt of the old sponge and see how the paint starts coming up. Then afterwards we can kind of start do our post wash kind of detailing. So we're going to be getting out the clay bar and the rapid detailing spray to lubricate that, and then we can give it a couple of coats of wax and everything as well. Should look pretty good at that stage. Kind of goes without saying, you start at the top and work your way down. Avid viewers of my channel may remember this car actually from a review I did on quite some time ago, where I actually I applauded the car. I actually really do like it. Okay, it's a little hairdressery, yeah, but I mean, it's good fun to drive, and to be honest with you, it's fairly good reliability as far as its ownership has been concerned. Now, we did have that issue with the rear subframe having to be replaced, but that was done under warranty, so that's pretty good, you know. Other than that, you know, to be honest with you, it's really just like, it's a smart looking car and it deserves this treatment, you know, so I'm actually only too happy to give it to it. The paint is coming up really well now, even just by doing this. Now, I fully expect it's going to take a couple of washes to kind of get it to a reasonable standard. And if you drop your sponge, ideally replace it. Or if you don't want to replace it, make sure you give it a good wash, because you don't want to pick up a piece of grit off your driveway or something like that and rub it into your paint. Sponge is what, like 50 cent? A big swirl mark on your bonnet from a piece of grit that it picked up. Priceless. Okay, so now it's time to get something like a toothbrush to go around the likes of the badges and details and stuff like that. Little crevices that you can't get into with the sponge. So I'm going to start doing that now. And then after we've got that all done, we're going to give it a last little going over with the sponge, and then we're going to rinse it all down, and we're going to see how it's looking then. So already you can feel that the paint is nowhere near as rough as it was when I started this process. So just actually attacking it with a bucket of soapy water, so to speak, has made a massive difference to this car. Now, there are some mechanical repairs that need to be done on this as well, so we'll be covering them in future videos too. Not the least of which is a serious knock from the front suspension, so we definitely have to tackle that. But let me go and get a little brush and yeah, we'll proceed. This is actually a very soft bristled dish brush that I'm going to use on this job. You can see all the shite that's coming out of there now. Well, I have to tell you folks, it is looking so much better since I've just even washed it. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a chamois and I'm going to just dry it, and we're going to have a look and see then how we're looking. But straight away, I mean, the paint is feeling so much better. I mean, it's still not perfect, but this is only the first step in the process, don't forget. So yeah, I mean, look at the Carplan foam shampoo does the trick very nicely, I have to say. So yeah, and between that and the wheels, straight away, I mean, it's looking like a much more presentable car. And I mean, yeah, you might say what you want about using a dish brush to go around the crevices and stuff like that. It worked, and it didn't leave any scratches or anything like that. So as I said, it was a very fine bristled dish brush. So yeah, chamois next. Now, I always say that if you're going to wash a car, you kind of need to dry it afterwards as well. So literally all I'm doing to dry it is I'm just going in lines. Now you can still see there is a lot of coarseness to the paint there, but we'll get that right. But not today, because as you might notice, I'm losing light. It'll be in the same video for you guys, but straight away this car is looking a million times better. You can probably even hear the kind of the coarseness of the chamois on the paint. Like, that should be a lot smoother, and it will be. It will be. The paint itself is fine. It's just the dirt that's on top of it. It's all just kind of stuck there. Like, you can still see a lot of it there now. So we might need to go a bit heavier than just the clay bar, but we will go with the clay bar next. Obviously there's still a long way to go before this car is at the standard that I'm actually looking for, but it's certainly a hell of a lot closer to that. Just having gotten rid of all of the mildew and moss around the windows and rubbers and stuff like that has made a big difference to the appearance of this car. It's a good 10 footer now, but we want it to be a good 1 footer. So yeah, I mean, like, next thing to do, as I said, will be to give it a clay bar, and then we'll start having a look at the paint after the clay bar is done, seeing if we need to kind of do any remedial action then and that. But before I finish up here completely, there's one little job I just want to do, because it's annoying me, the look of it. Those tailpipes are supposed to be chrome. So all I'm going to use here for these is a little bit of very fine steel wool, and use very light pressure with a bit of WD-40 just as a cleaning media. As I said, you don't need to go mad on them. A little bit of pressure. You can see already how well that's coming up. Not too bad. It's the little details that really make a car like this, you know. That job in itself makes the back of the car look a million times better, if I do say so myself. Okay folks, so it's the following day for me, and we're obviously in the garage now because the car is dry and I'm not going to be making too much of a mess of the place now. So at least we can proceed indoors under the lights, and given the fact that it's dark outside, that works for me. So up until this point, the whole process of actually washing the car and getting it to this stage has taken me 1 hour and 10 minutes in total. So that's really, I mean, like, for a lot of people that would actually be nearly enough to get it. Like, I mean, the car is looking 100 times better already, but we still have a good bit to go. So the next thing to do is I need to address these areas here on either side of the rear window. Now, the paint has basically been kind of worn away just from driving. Now, I just kind of, I rubbed them with a little bit of emery there just to see whether the paint would come off easily or not. It was kind of flaked around there, but you can see that it did come away. But what I want to do is I want to rub them back completely. And then what we'll do is we'll reassess then at that stage and see how we go. I'm thinking self-adhesive vinyl might be the way to go on them. Okay, so we're going to start by using a bit of rapid detailer here, the autoglym rapid detailer, and we're just going to spray this down just to provide a bit of lubrication for the 400 grit emery I have here. Now 400 grit probably would be a little bit coarse for my liking, but it's what I have, so it's what I'll use. So I'm going to literally use very, very light pressure on it, okay? And we're just going to keep at it until we've got it rubbed back, making sure not to touch the silver paint. Now, if you were careful enough, you'd mask it off beforehand, and to be honest with you, I probably will now in a little while, but I just want to see how it goes before we kind of proceed any further than this. So let's just rub that back with a bit of, or just dry that now with a bit of blue roll. As I said, this is not exactly a master class, but I'm hoping the end will justify the means. So straight away you can see that's looking a bit better. Now, as I said, what I'd be using is actually 1200 grit, to be honest with you, if I had it, but as I said, I don't, so that's kind of where we're limited. Alright, so obviously I've got it masked up here now, so without applying any more of the rapid detailer, the problem I'm finding is you actually just can't see where you've removed it, where the paint, and where you haven't. What we can do is we'll take off the paint first, as you can see here. Incidentally, I know I said it was an hour and 10 minutes to get it to this point. That is including the time it took me to flute around with the camera and stuff like that to film my progress. So you could honestly do it a lot faster because of the fact that you're most likely not going to be doing that. That said, I don't tend to spend a huge amount of time kind of setting up my camera shots, as you can probably tell. Just need to kind of stay at it until you get all of the excess paint removed, because even if you use self-adhesive vinyl, it's going to show, like if you've got any kind of imperfections, it's still going to show through. It doesn't hide as much as you would think, as many people have learned the hard way by sticking it over imperfections in paint and stuff like that, thinking it's going to hide it. It's really not. Okay, so now that all of the excess paint has been removed, now we're going to spray it with our rapid detailer, and we're going to just blend it all in, basically. He says, as if he knows what he's talking about. Now, as you can see, using very light pressure here, folks. You don't want to go mad on this. Alright, so there's our self-adhesive vinyl. Now, obviously it has to be cut out, but I think that'll do the trick. And if it doesn't do the trick, we'll just take it off. So let's get some panel wipe on there, and we'll get everything tidied up so we actually have a good surface for that to bond to. The idea of the panel wipe is literally just to remove contaminants. And yes, I should be wearing gloves, but I don't have any at this moment in time, so just let that dry off. Okay. That feels good now. Okay, right. So there's a couple of ways of applying this, and I'm not claiming to be a professional by any stretch of the imagination on this. As far as vinyl wrapping is concerned, it's a bit of a dark art, but you can do it by spraying water on and then squeegeeing the water out. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to literally try do it dry. I'm not one for kind of detailing and stuff like that, but to be honest with you, I'm actually quite enjoying this. As I said, there's people who would make a career out of this, and to me, that would drive me nuts. But for this particular exercise, it's actually quite satisfying, I'll be honest. You know what? I think we might be onto a winner here with this as well. I think it's going to look the business, so long as I'm careful enough cutting it out. Literally As you can see, just smoothing it out with my fingers. Okay, right, now, if I proceed with caution, and I'm very, very careful cutting this out and I don't make a complete balls of it, I think that's going to look the business. Brand new Stanley knife, Stanley blade even. Yeah, notice I have my tongue sticking out. If I didn't, I may as well not be doing this at all. Painstaking is coming to mind here, but a bit of time well spent. Oh no. Oh, it's bonded well to the paintwork anyway, that's for sure. Is it perfect? No. Does it look 100 times better? Yes, absolutely. I am delighted with that. That looks really well now, I have to say. And it's going to really lift the whole look of the car, to be honest with you. Especially when you consider how the other side looked. This is why I'm enjoying this job so much. Look at this. The difference is absolutely astounding. I'm absolutely delighted with that now. It makes such a difference to the back of the car. Between that and actually cleaning the inside of the back glass, which was pretty piggy to tell you the truth. So, yeah, it's starting to come around, folks. It really is. So now what I want to do is I actually want to get the clay bar out, and we're going to start clay barring it and see how we go from there. Right, so the idea of the clay bar is really that it's just going to pick up any kind of surface contaminants and stuff like that. So what you need to do is you need to spray it down with this rapid detailer or something along those lines, and basically just rub the paint with it. And you pick up all of the surface contaminants with the clay bar. I mean, you can hear how rough it is. What you do then is you knead it, kind of give it a spray, or at least that's what I do. Picking up all sorts of gack off it. I'm probably just going to do the boot lid and maybe the roof tonight, and then we'll see how we're looking. I probably won't get all the car done. It's getting late, to be honest, but I couldn't just leave it at doing the back window now. What I do is get this all clay barred here along the surface of the boot lid, and we spray it with our rapid detailer, and then we'll see how it looks. Obviously there's going to be polishing and stuff to be done afterwards as well, but this is definitely going to make a big difference in itself. And this is when you start to see the paint really pop. Don't be afraid to keep things wet along here as well with the rapid detailer. All right, so now I'm going to get a clean soft cloth, and we're going to just give that a wipe down now, and see how it's looking. We'll have to go over it again though. All right, so just give it another spray with our rapid detailer and just I'm going to be honest with you folks, it's been a long time since I've lavished this much attention on a car, least of all a car that's actually not even my own. But it's my mum's car and I'm only too happy to do it for her. I mean, she looks after the car and she looks after me well as well. So she's coming up well, and I've got the roof done, the rear, I suppose you call them B-pillars in this car, the boot, the rear quarters, they're all clay barred now. So yeah, it's really just a case now of once I've got the rest of the car clay barred, I'm going to give it two coats of wax, and yeah, it should really start to look well at that stage. There's a few little details I need to take care of, a couple of bits, like there's a seal at the bottom of the back window there, and there's moss in it, and I can't quite get at it. I'm wondering if I actually open the roof, will I be able to get it that way? So they're the type of things I want to try and kind of put right as well. But for the most part, car is really looking an awful lot better now. So I'll keep going. I'm going to call it a night now at this point in time. So I'll pick it up tomorrow. I've been at it another, I suppose you could say, an hour and 20 minutes there now today, between putting on the vinyl on the rear quarters and clay barring what I've done so far. So yeah, doing the vinyl did take a bit of time, especially trying to peel that mess off the other side. It's a learning experience, you know, and especially what with the fact that it's the vinyl I used is actually it was originally used for making decals on the outside of aircraft, so it kind of sticks like shit to a blanket, to tell you the truth. But anyway, right, let's call it there, and I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up another day. But through the miracle of editing, you'll never know. So it's the following day now, and I'm basically just kind of glossing over everything, so to speak. I've got the front wing here done as far as the clay bar is concerned, and same with the driver's side door. So I'm going to do the bonnet and the front bumper, the other front and side panels and that, do the sills and everything like that, get them all spruced up, and then I'll bring it back when it comes time to actually kind of giving it a final polish and everything as well. A few other little details I kind of need to get at as well before we kind of get into that level of that level of things. And that's like the bottom of the windscreen here, where there's a bit of moss stuck in the seal. So we want to try and get that out of there, because that's the type of thing that will ruin the look of the car, you know, when you've put all the effort into everything else. And I want to see if I can do something with the headlights, but I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do the headlights in a different video. So, because it's one of those things people like to know how to do, and if I incorporate it into this video, they might not necessarily see it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, I'm going to get that bonnet done, and yeah, I'll come back to you in a few minutes. By the way, it's an autoglym clay bar I'm using. It's just a surface cleaning clay bar or something like that, but yeah, you use basically a kind of a coin size amount at a time, and if it gets particularly grubby, you change it. So in this process I've already changed it twice. So look, clay bar is cheap, you know, so yeah, comparatively speaking. So yeah, you can kind of it's worth just changing it out a couple of times. You can kind of see there the sort of level of contamination is picking up. So you can rinse it off with the rapid detailer, and kind of just keep it so it's a clean part facing out, and make sure that the paint stays well lubricated. You'll see what'll happen is if you don't keep it well lubricated, the clay bar will just stick to it. Okay, so that's the bonnet done. I mean, obviously it does need more of a polish than that as well, so that's to be expected. But for the moment now, anyway, that paint is feeling nice and smooth there now. So I'm going to do the front bumper, and I'm going to do the wing of the door on the other side, and then do the sills last, and then we can address all the other little noodly bits around the car as well, and kind of make sure that there aren't any kind of bits of, like, even in there I can see there's a little bit of kind of green in the bonnet vent. So that's the kind of thing, you gotta, like, if you're gonna go to all this effort, why would you leave that there? So we'll be coming back to that, and then after that, then we can have a look at kind of applying our kind of first coat of wax and that as well. So yeah, I'll come back to you in a little while. All right, so that's the clay bar job done now, thank God, because it gets a little bit arduous, and my hand is all silver, oddly enough. But yeah, so anyway, next thing to do is I want to tackle those little bits of green algae and moss and stuff like that here and there. I'm actually going to use one of the cloths I was using for buffing after the clay bar, because I'm not going to be using it again after this point. So for removing things like that, this will be absolutely perfect, and it's still got a bit of the detailing spray on it as well. So it'll do the job nicely. So yeah, I'll just show you basically very quickly here what I'm going to do. This bit down here is easy insofar as I literally just get my fingernails and just getting the cloth worked in underneath the seal and cleaning, and you see all that crap that's coming out of there. So that's what we're looking to remove. The detailing spray does a nice job on the rubbers and stuff like that as well, and it's also good for if you ever get any wax or car polish on the rubbers after you've polished it. The rapid detailer will do a decent job of taking that off. So I'm just going to clean up all of the kind of rubbers around the windscreen here right the way around, and we'll do our wiper blades as well. As I said, generally this car has been relatively well looked after over its life. It's just, the thing is, it's been kind of sitting up aloft for the last while, so and there's a period of time where it's kind of parked under trees and all that too, so that sort of stuff has taken its toll. Right, let's leave it like that so we can get it all the seals. Oh, shut up. Oh, not much I can do about that at the moment. It's just giving out about the fact that the roof is only half down. Right. God almighty. Alright, so let's be careful not to put any kind of pressure on any moving parts of the roof here now as we're doing this. Can't really get in at that seal there. I think I might be able to get in at it with the boot fully down, or with the roof fully down. Let's do that. Kind of can, but it's not very easy. It's just there's one area where there's moss and I just cannot get at it. Mildew on that. Lovely. Well, that's the type of thing that'll be easy to clean when the roof is actually down. So that's a positive. Right, so let's put the roof back up again a little bit and see if I can get at it. It's just that one area. It's just annoying me, the look of it. Right. Be sure to take the glass out of the back of the car. I don't see how you're meant to get at that. See, this is the bit down here I'm talking about. It's just that one green line. It looks desperate. So I need to find out a way of actually getting at that so I can clean it. Okay, so I've got the cloth with a pick in it. So I'm just going to try and... That's having some impact anyway. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And yeah, I think that might actually do the job. That's already looking a lot better. So now I'm going to just try and work in the cloth and just move it along. Just get the excess WD-40 off first. It's taking a lot of gunge with it, so that's the type of thing that would have driven me nuts now if I hadn't been able to actually do anything about that. Because after all the hard work I've put in elsewhere, if that big line of moss was down there, it just wouldn't have looked right at all. Well, it's taken a bit of a fagary in that it's telling me now that it lowered the roof itself there before I was quite finished the job, but now it's saying start the engine to move the roof, and battery's dead. Ah, yeah. Right, okay, booster pack it is then. I'll give it over. Give it out to buy a car. Right. This car has a propensity for flattening batteries. It's another thing I need to actually take care of while it's in my garage. Some of the tools you buy in the likes of Aldi and Lidl and all that are absolute garbage. This actually works. So happy days. Well, let's say I might be eating my words there now in a minute, but for the moment, let's stick it on and give it the beans and see if we can get this to start. And then what I'll do is afterwards I'll put it on charge. See, it works. Right, now. Right. That's enough of that. Alright, so... God, all the mildew, bloody hell. Right, okay, so I'll just get some cleaning spray for that, just to give it a dicky up while we're in the area. Demon Clean multi-purpose cleaner for interior and exterior use. It'll do the trick for the moment until we get to the point where we're actually doing the interior properly. But as it stands, the way I see it, this is actually part of the outside of the car now. Alright, that is not looking too bad at all, folks, if I do say so myself. Now, I just want to have a look at that door on the other side, because the glass is supposed to go up. Yeah, that's working now, grand. The glass drops when you open the door, and then when you close it again, it pops back up again. And so if you disconnect the battery when like with the window down, it doesn't know where the home position is anymore. So that was what was wrong with that, but it's fine now. Right, as you can see here, the headlight is fairly cloudy looking. So I am going to tackle it using T-cut. Yes, you can use toothpaste, you can use baking soda, you can buy all of the kits available. But to be honest with you, the T-cut works, especially when they're not really heavily clouded. So it's got a very mild abrasive in it, and that's how it actually polishes how it restores the paint. Is it actually cuts the paint back, hence why it's called T-cut. The clue's in the name. So we're going to just literally go to town on it. The trick here is really just take your time and stay at it, and they will come up. But already I'm starting to see a difference. Right, so let's just leave that dry to a haze, and we'll buff it off and see how they're looking there. We may have to go at it again, but yeah, we'll. I already can see a difference, to be honest with you. So I think we're onto a winner here. All right. Massive improvement. I think we can live with that. And there you have it, folks. Easy as that. It only literally took me about 5 minutes. Okay, folks, we're at that critical juncture now, and that is we're going to start waxing the car. Well, we're going to polish it. So, yeah, I'll show you what I'm going to use. Autoglym Super Resin Polish. I like this stuff, to be honest with you. It goes on very easily and it gives a really good finish. So, yeah, first thing you do, give it a good shake. And then, if you have a proper polish applicator, better again. But in this instance, I'm just going to use a lint-free cloth, and this one will actually do the job absolutely fine. So, some people like to wet the cloth, do it with a slightly damp cloth. To be honest with you, I've done it both ways, and there are advantages and disadvantages to either way. So I'm going to do it without dampening the cloth now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start on the top, on the roof, and we're going to do it panel by panel, and we're going to work our way right the way around the car, and we will stand back and, as they say on the back of the bottle, enjoy the envy. Okay, I might be overstating it a little bit, but that's what they say on the bottle, so that must be what happens. I'm actually going to use this cloth instead. It's like a lint-free cloth, so this will do the job nicely. So put a decent smear of it on the cloth and rub it in. Now, to be honest with you, this garage is probably a little bit cold for doing this in, but my heater has run out of fuel, so I have to freeze. I actually love the smell of this stuff, you know that? It's actually quite a nice smell to it. Now, there are lots of people who will say that after polishing, you should apply a coat of wax as well. In this instance, I'm not actually going to do that. A, because I actually don't have any separate wax, and B, because I don't have the time, because I have to get this car back to my mum today. So, yeah, we're up against it, but I'm going to have it finished now in a little while, and it's going to look good. Now take your time to try not to get the polish on the rubber components of the car, because it's a headache to get off. Alright, so now the moment I have certainly been waiting for, and I hope you have too. We're going to buff off this polish and we're going to see how the paint is looking. And then we're going to do the polishing a second time around, and then we'll do the glass as well. So once we've all that done, then we can do the big reveal, and I'll show you the outside because it's a nice sunny day out there. So I'm going to buff off the panels in the order that I put the polish onto them in. Straight away, that roof is coming up really well. I don't think this is looking too bad at this point in time, I have to say now. I'm really happy with how it's shaping up. So next thing what I'm going to do is that's the first coat of polish buffed off there now. I'm actually going to clean the glass at this point, and then afterwards I'm going to do the second coat of polish. And then I'm calling it at that, because to be honest with you, it's not going to get much better. For polishing the glass, I'm going to use autoglym car glass polish. So I also find this very effective. Not sponsored by anybody, by the way. It's just I'm just telling you the products I use. So you can use whatever you want. It's up to you. Like any of these chemicals and products, you need to give them a good shake before you use them. Now, I would have liked to, in this whole process, given the interior a good clean as well, but time is against me on this, and to be honest with you, compared to the outside, it's not that bad. It's been kept fairly clean, you know, but the only thing is there was that mildew on the back parcel shelf, but that's because the roof hadn't been opened in a long time, and they probably just got forgotten about. This stuff goes like car polish, like as in the resin, the super resin wax and stuff like that. It dries to a haze and then you just buff it off. It's actually great for doing the windows in your house as well. All right, second coat of polish is coming off now, so it's really starting to look the business. Second coat of polish will always put up less of a fight. It actually went on very easily because the paint was already kind of clean and tidy and literally just needed that last little lift, but that is absolutely smooth. It's feeling great. And you see, that's the thing, is that what you want is the paint to be smooth, because that's how, like, if there's any roughness in it, it's going to refract the light and you're not going to get that shine. He says as if he knows what he's talking about. I suppose the thing about this video is the idea behind it is it's not for the kind of the mad detailing enthusiasts who could certainly teach me a lot. It's for the everyman like me who just wants to give his car a tidy up and thinks that it's out of his reach. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm doing a better job than a detailing shop or anything like that. In fairness, you can see where they earn their money. Apart from all this, they probably do a machine polish and all this kind of stuff as well. And then you have the premises, you have the training that they've received, all of that sort of stuff. And to be honest with you, the results speak for themselves. When you bring it to a detailer, you're going to expect to get a very, very high quality finish. And I would say that if you didn't get a very high quality finish, then they shouldn't be calling themselves a detailer. Either that or the car is a ball of scrap. So, yeah, I mean, this is just me doing it on my own. You know, I mean, to get this car detailed, you'd be talking the guts of €500. But when you consider the amount of man hours that have been put into that, plus the overheads of the business that you're bringing it to, I don't think that's entirely unreasonable. folks, I think it's fair to say that the results speak for themselves. I'm really, really happy with how this car shaped up, to be honest with you. I mean, the paint is just, I don't know whether it even comes out on camera, but there's such a nice little kind of metal flake in it there now, you know, just really shining out on it. And it's smooth, and it looks the business, actually. I mean, I've taken 10 years off this car easily, if not more. So, yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that if you believe in yourself, you too can accomplish great things. No, that sounds like horse shit. Yeah, no, it just goes to show that if you put in the time and effort, you can do this at home. You can get it to this standard. And I suppose if I added it all up, maybe 4.5 hours all told in everything, you know, I mean, and that's getting into the clay bar and then 2 coats of polish and all this kind of carry on as well. So it did take a good bit of time. You don't have to put in that kind of time, you know, I mean, you can get fairly decent results by spending a bit less time on it even as well, you know, but yeah, I mean, look, I'm delighted with it, and now the next stage is to bring it down to my mum and let her see the end result. I'm sure she's going to be absolutely thrilled, and I'm going to bring the MG back up here because the ignition switch has failed in it, so I need to replace that. I've got one on the way, and yeah, so that'll be coming back up here, and this will be going back down to my folks' place. So listen, thanks a lot for watching, folks. Please don't forget to subscribe before you go, and like the video if you like what you saw, and I'll see you in a future video.